Hi everyone. So on this video, we're expanding on all of our other videos on platform analytics. And on this one, we are going to be looking into creating personal reports and dashboards. So as we've described in some of the previous videos, reports in platform analytics are called data visualizations. So you can create them directly on dashboards, but I'll just show you another way because then we can add that to a dashboard in the future. So if I click on the application navigator in the top left-hand corner, and then I've already pre-typed platform analytics, and we can see here data visualizations. So if I click on here, and I'm automatically presenting with a list of all 975 visualizations that have already been created. And I can click in the right-hand corner and create data visualization. So in my previous video, I did an overview of the different visualizations, and I am going to start off with a donut because it's quite a frequent data visualization that we use. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go and use this finance case again, and I'm going to set it as active. So apologies, I probably should have spent a little bit more time explaining what I was doing there. So if you haven't seen some of the other videos, this is the kind of the really critical piece of the whole kind of setup for reports and data visualization. So this data source here, so this is, as the name says on the tin, the source of the data. So when you come into this, so I obviously clicked edit before I was adding a data source. It suggested some sources based off my kind of history and behaviour. So it already suggested this finance case here. Typically, just to start off with, I would just focus on using tables. So tables are the different containers, the different tables that you'd be working in. So that could be incident, it could be legal requests or matters, it could be HR cases, it could be procurement cases, whatever it might be, and you'll be used to those. So what ServiceNow is a lot better at now is making this a little bit easier to find. So in the past, you had to know SN_spend_ blah 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 blah. Now you can use the kind of the label, which gives you the real life name. So I'll still choose finance case, but just to prove. So I typed in finance, it's suggested some tables. So finance case line, exchange rates, task. If I was to do the same for incident, for example, it's going to bring me a whole heap of other stuff. The indicators are kind of another area that we'll do a separate session on. But yeah, we've got a number of incident related tables as well. So it just becomes really easy to do it. Still, you have to know what you're selecting, but then it gets easier and easier with time, and you can use that suggestions as you go forward. So if you just want to have the raw data, so you don't care about putting any filters on, then you can just apply this data source. But what I did before was I added in this active is true. I could do any other filters as well, so it could be state is one of, and then choose some states. But I just want to keep it as active as true just for the purpose of this. So as we go through each individual option here, so we can do a huge amount of kind of design or customization against these reports. So I'm going to put a header separator on, and I'm going to call this what we're going to do for finance cases. So let's say active finance cases by state. So as we can see in the top left-hand corner, we've got the title now. We can change the background color. We can change the color of the title. if this was long, we'd be able to wrap the title as well. We've chose the data. We've done a count, so we can change this as well if this wanted to be a sum, depending on the values. If it was amounts or quantities, for example. So what's the metric that we're looking to count? And then for this donut report, we need to do this grouping by. So I want to do this by state. So much like any of these selections in ServiceNow, you'll have a search bar. You can search for what you're looking for. We're going to choose that, and then we're going to apply that. So automatically we've had that. We've had that grouping applied, and you can see that we've got all of these different states. If I just close this down so we can see some of the remaining personalization options, we can group by, as we showed before. What is the sort? So how do we want to sort the order? So here we can see that this is gradually reducing in terms of the highest percentage of the results from this 12 o'clock position all the way around clockwise. But we could change that if we wanted to. So we've got the name. We could change it to ascending instead. So we could change it by name. So however we want to do it, I think value and descending probably makes quite a lot of sense. And then we can have, again, just all of these different customizations. It really just depends on your personal preferences and how what you want to show. So I'm going to include that total value. So that's the total amount of numbers. And let's also, before we come on to data update, I'll explain that in a second. See if there's anything else. So if there is no data against it, typically you will see a kind of almost like an error message which says there's no data to visualize. If we wanted to set something, we could put our own attachment. We could do whatever we wanted and set a custom message, but we're not going to. So if I just close this all up so we can see the bottom of this, and then we'll come back up to data update. So do we want to show the data table? So we can, at the bottom, show the actual table that this is based on. I think this looks a little bit messy at times, but it can be useful. When it comes to the legend, you've got some options. You can add the values against it. As you saw when you're going around, you can hover over it and see it. But sometimes it's quite nice to add this in. We can change the position, so maybe on the right hand side, and do we want it to be center aligned, left aligned, just basically anything in terms of how you like it to look and feel. And this is going to change probably when you present it on a dashboard as well. That can also have a big impact. Data labels. So as I showed, we hovered over these segments and it gives you the numbers, but if you wanted to, you can also have that call out directly so that you don't need to do that, as this is particularly useful when you export these out. And then in terms of colors, you could set your own color palette, fixed colors. So historically, the reports look good, but you didn't have as much flexibility. Now you've got a huge amount of options to really go to a granular level of how to present this data. The last piece that I would add into here is that this data update section is really, really helpful. So on one of the other sessions, I showed a real just brief insight into kind of dashboard level filters. I'm going to do the next session is going to be on using filters and interactive reporting. So, but this is what you want to set if you want the report to show to follow filters. So we could have a department filter, for example, which if you clicked on it, this would filter this data down even more. But if you want it to be excluded because actually it's not representative of that filter choice, you can also take this out as well. So again, just gives you that flexibility on a dashboard. So just to round this off, I'm going to save this. and we're going to call it active finance cases by state. We're going to save this, and we're going to go back to the test dashboard that we set up before. So let me just go onto here and go onto test dashboard and enter edit mode, and we're going to add a new element. So if I click on data visualization, I'm going to say visualization, and then we search for what we did before. So active finance cases by state. There we go. Click that, add to dashboard, and you will see that the report that we've just created with all the settings has pulled through automatically. So as you can see, when it comes to the editing side of things, this is all drag and drops. If I wanted to move this over here, if I wanted to change the size of this, make it a bit bigger, this map report look a little bit bigger as well, close this down, and you can see this is all dynamic. So if I you can play around with the look and feel, and if it might look a little bit strange when you first save it, and then when you dynamically kind of zoom in and out of your screen, you're on a different size laptop, whatever it might be, and all of these reports are dynamic, so you might need to play around with this stuff. But there you have it. You can quickly create those individual reports. You can export them, share them on an individual basis, but very soon you'll probably be wanting to bring it into a dashboard. So to round off, we kind of created that in its own space. We added the data visualization with the using the save visualization option. But also, if you wanted to, you could just build the reports directly into the dashboard and just use this option, which when you're comfortable with the solution, then that's that can be kind of a really quick and easy way to get a dashboard up and running. The final thing that I'll show, and this is incredibly useful, especially if you're happy with your setup with your data sources and you don't want to be repeatedly setting up the same thing over and over again. You also have this option here. If you click in the top right hand corner with this little three dots, the actions icon, you can duplicate this, and straight away you've got a carbon copy of that with all of the settings in the same case. The same finance case table, because you select it on the data source, the same filter, so you can quickly start to build out these reports and dashboards without having to kind of go through each individual step time and time again. Yeah, so that's quite an in-depth session on data visualizations in platform analytics. On the next one, we will be looking at setting up and using filters. Hopefully that will just be a little bit quicker. On the next one, there's not as much to show, but yeah, hopefully that's been useful. And yeah, please take time to come and look at some of our future content. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks for watching The Process Play.